today for this Career Advising for Kinesiology Majors workshop and to be partnering with the Career Center and the Kinesiology Department. Some of you may know me. I am Vanessa Lopez. I am the Retention and Graduation Specialist in the College of Science Advising Center. You may have gotten a notice that we are recording this meeting, and that is because we hope to have this video available on our website for any students that weren't able to attend today. So I'll go ahead and let Ed and Dr. Chase introduce themselves, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay, I guess I can go first. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Chase. I recognize a lot of the names on the Zoom today, so I think probably a lot of you are familiar with me as well. So I'm the chair of the department. It's my 5th year as chair, and yeah, I'm excited to see you all here today and be part of this.
Hello, my name is Ed Venegas. I'm the career specialist over at the Career Center. I'm also the liaison to the College of Science. And so I work with all the science majors. And as I was sharing earlier with my group right here was that I really find it a treat to work with the Kinesiology department and the kinesiology students. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yay, thank you. All right. So I think this is for all of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So that's my slide. So some of you are obviously already within the major, and I know you in that context. So you have a little bit of a sense of this, but I think one of the really great things about kinesiology is all the options that are available to you in terms of careers. So, what we did is we put a few up here, and really there are more than what we actually have on here. But in terms of the 2 options that are available right now in the field, our general option provides a lot of flexibility. It allows people to take the prereqs they need to go into a wide range of kind of graduate programs, applied health options. So yeah, things like physical therapy, occupational therapy, chiropractic, med school, etc. Our students are able to take the prereqs they need to be able to go into any of those options, but then also go into grad school in kinesiology, in athletic training, more specifically. Some of the things that are available without going to grad school: personal trainers, health and fitness instructors, cardiac rehabilitation, coaching options. That's usually also requiring a master's now in coaching, health education. We have graduates from our program who have gone on to work on campus in our health and wellness programs, work with community sport organizations, so things like working with the Boys and Girls Club, YM or YWCA, those sorts of things. Those options are all available to people essentially within the general option. And what I always tell people is, they'll say, "Hey, Dr. Chase, is kinesiology, is that a better option than, say, one of the other sciences in the College of Science for physical therapy, occupational therapy?" And I always tell people, my personal feeling on that is you really can't get better preparation for things like physical and occupational therapy, because everything we do kind of ties back to movement, and you don't necessarily get that in the other sciences, but you certainly get it within our program. So much of what we do is applied. So that's our general option. Really wide variety of options that you can do with your kin degree as your base. Our other option is our pedagogy option. And we do have with us Delphina Delphine, sorry, I don't know when I lost the ability to talk today. She's with us, and she's one of our recent grads, and she's going to talk a lot about our pedagogy option and going into teaching. But that option obviously prepares future teachers in physical education. Also, we have the opportunity to do an added authorization in adaptive physical education. People also go into community sport organization, coaching, outdoor education or recreation, and graduate school. So we have students who come through, do a master's degree, and occasionally even go on to do a PhD or an EDD within physical education or within coaching. So those are our two options. I think it's really important, basically to decide which route you want to go, because they really have different outcomes. Our pedagogy option is really designed for preparing future physical education teachers. Yeah, and that's it for that slide. Any questions on that so far?
If you have any questions, you can drop them into the chat. And I can open up the chat and I don't see any questions. So let's go ahead and move on to the next slide.
All right, so I just wanted to agree with Dr. Chase on that. Yeah, as a career counselor, I definitely agree that the kinesiology major is a great fit for students who are looking into, like, you know, going into the physical therapy type programs, especially in the master's or a doctorate level. A lot of times when I'm helping students with graduate school, we're looking at all the graduation requirements expected, and kinesiology fits the bill really well, plus and then some, right? So all the extra things you're doing. And the adaptive PE program is outstanding. I know right now school districts, they are in dire need of adaptive educational teachers. And if you have that skill set, I mean, you pretty much are gonna get a job. It's a really desired field right now. And my wife used to do that in Colorado. She was adaptive PE and she loved it a lot, so. All right, so this slide here is our career exploration page. And so in the Career Center, we have a whole page related to career exploration. So sometimes students might ask a question like, you know, what else can I do in this major? Or what does this major do? You know, there's a way to find out this stuff. If Vanessa, if you can go ahead and go to the page, please.
Yeah, so, oops. I did have that page open, and of course, here it is. Can you see it?
Just, you have to unshare it and then reshare.
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird, like, yeah, Zoom does that.
Well, that's annoying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's the way it goes.
There we go.
I do it all the time. I'm like talking away and students are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh yeah. So when you'll have this link, it's part of the PowerPoint. You guys should be able to receive the PowerPoint, and you'll have the link and you'll get to this page, and it's also on the Career Center page as well. And you know, it has occupational guides, so that's one section there, and then choosing the major guide. So for instance, if you look at the second bullet point on the occupational guides, that's the ONET Center. And that one is go ahead, you can click on that one, yeah, go ahead. And it'll share automatic here. So here, if you go up to the top right, then Vanessa, you can put in like physical therapy. And then go ahead and enter after. And then it'll give you a list of all the different areas related to that, even down to like art therapist, right? Or music therapist. But go ahead and pick one of them, Vanessa. Pick any one you want to click on.
Okay, let's click physical therapist.
Okay, awesome. So this one will have like all this great information, right? So tasks, technology skills, and they even put a little campfire next to it because those are going to be the hot items. So like if you know how to use electronic mail software, right, which most of us do, you know, that's a big deal for them. And then if you go ahead and scroll down, and you'll scroll down just for a little bit, keep going, like I guess to the bottom, go down to the bottom because all this stuff's there. Yeah, keep going down. It's a long list. And there we go. So sources of additional information. And then Vanessa, right there's the very bottom, it says Occupational Outlook Handbook on the links. Yeah, click on that. And then it'll open up to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is the one I like. I like this one better. This one is more appealing to the eye, at least for me. Some other people like the other one, it's fine. But here I'll tell you how much they get paid. So the median pay, the degree you'll need, and then, you know, if it's gonna grow fast or not. And then up there, up on the top, it has the tabs. So like what they do, work environment, how to become one, all that good stuff. Plus the second to last tab is similar occupations. Click on that. And then that one will tell us other related occupations. So Dr. Chase was saying like, yeah, the list we have is not a full list of everything you can do. And so, you know, you can go through here and look up other occupations related, and it'll tell you the degrees and the payments which you get paid for salary. So, so yeah, there's that. And then if we go back to the career exploration page, you'll just have to go back, yeah. Unfortunately, we gotta fix that link there. Okay, and then choosing a major. So if you go to where it says, what can I do with this major? This is another great site. So with this one, you have to go through the Career Center page. So we pay so much money per year to have it on our site. So if you try to search it yourself and do it, it'll tell you, oh, you cannot access this. So you have to go to the Career Center exploration page to access it. And then just hover over view all majors up there on the top, just hover it. Yeah, then you find, and then I think it's under science. Kinesiology would be under science, yeah.
All right, let's go to science.
And then there it'll list all the tabs, and then there it is, awesome. And so in here, once it comes up, it's going to show the area. So it'll have the area of physical fitness, and then it's going to have those bullet points. Those are the actual like occupations or careers within that area. And so like when you're doing an internship or a job search, I tell students, use these words. Don't just put in physical fitness, because then you're going to get random things. But if you make it more specific to what you're interested in, that'll really help. And then it has employers, so it'll tell you the types of places that hire them. So if you know you want to work at, say, a university or a college, then this will probably be something you want to look at. And then it has strategies. And then the list will go on and on. It'll have other areas in the same info. But Vanessa, go ahead and scroll all the way down toward the bottom. There's going to be like some resources. There we go. And so in here, you're going to have professional associations. And so if you're an upperclassman, I would start looking at this. I believe it's really important to be a part of a professional association, especially attending like their annual conferences that they do, because then you get to network and learn more about your field. And it's definitely an opportunity for professional development. So you want to be looking into that. And there's a list of that. And then the second column is the Occupational Outlook Handbook. And that's what we just looked at, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And then you got related resources. So it has other information that maybe you can look at. And then there's also niche websites. So for instance, Bluefish Jobs is a niche website for people who want to work, like say places like the Brick, right? So college campus facilities. You can click on that and find jobs and opportunities in there. So, so that's that. So you guys have that at your fingertips. And what happens is students will utilize this content, and then they make career counseling appointments with me. And then, you know, they have further questions on like, okay, I want to apply for this type of job, or this is what I want to do. Then we can start working on like the resume or the purpose statement or whatever it is. So there's that. So thank you.
So back to the PowerPoint.
Sure, yes.
All right, let me stop sharing and make sure that I navigate back to that correctly. There we are. Next slide.
Okay. I can take that, at least that first bullet. This is something that students ask me all the time. What classes should I take for PT school or OT school or graduate school, whatever it might be. And it's really hard for me to actually answer that, because I don't know every single graduate program, and I don't know what the prereqs are of every single graduate program. So what I tell students are, you have to have some ideas about places, schools where you would like to go. And once you know that, then you have to do some legwork. So go onto their website, maybe even meet with one of their advisors and talk about what do you need to do to get into their program, right? What are the prereqs you need? And not all programs are going to be the same. So it's really important that you look at a range, right? Because, for example, physical therapy school, it's super competitive. I actually applied to physical therapy school when I was coming out of undergraduate. This was way back in Canada, but at that time they had about 1,500 applications for 30 spots in the program. So it's really competitive to get into physical therapy school. So just something that you need to be aware of and also planning for, right? So thinking about at least applying to several different programs or more to make sure that you have options available to you. But do that research, dig into it, look at what different schools. If you're thinking, hey, I want to stay in Southern California, so I'm looking at maybe Western in Pomona, maybe Loma Linda, maybe Cal State Long Beach, USC. I mean, those are some of the big programs in Southern California. So you want to look at all of those and keep your options open. So the third bullet kind of talks about the same thing, actually, right? It's you want to be prepared for that. So if you're thinking, I want to go to grad school, and you have a good GPA and you have those things, you want to be planning that, and you've got, in the general option, you've got 28 units of elective. You want to take the classes that are going to help you be successful at the next step. So might be the physics series, the chem series, organic chem, the bio series. And we have a lot of students that do those science series to help them get to the next stage, to get to graduate school. So, man, that's something you need to be thinking about now, making sure that you use your electives wisely. You don't want to just take classes in there that aren't going to help you in the next stage if that's what you're planning. So, Ed, do you want to talk about pre-professional advising?
No, I mean, I think I agree with what you're saying. Like, I always tell students the same thing, make sure you know what programs you want to go into, because there might be slight changes in what they're asking for. Some might ask for like a GRE or something similar. Some might not ask for it. Some require so many hours of, volunteering, some do not. And so really knowing. And then the other part is also be willing to go out of state, because that will be to your advantage. I know a lot of students want to stay around Southern California, and it can get really competitive in this area, but there might be schools like in, say, North Dakota or Indiana, where there might be more opportunity. So you definitely want to keep your options open as far as choosing those. Thank you, Dr. Chase.
Yeah, you bet.
I do also want to mention, as Ed said before, this presentation will be emailed to all the students. And on here, we have a link to the pre-professional advising website. And the reason why we link there is because we do have, and our advising center has it as well, lists of common prerequisites for some of these programs that students are trying to get into. So that's a good web page to visit, because it has that information on there. But it's also something we have. So going along with the last bullet here, consistent advising, as Dr. Chase mentioned and Ed mentioned before, having that idea in the back of your mind as far as what type of grad school or profession you want to get into, and meeting with an academic advisor to make sure that you're interweaving these courses or choosing the proper electives within your time at Cal Poly is key to making sure that obviously you're graduating in the timeline that you want without having to extend to complete those prerequisites, but also making sure that you're setting up to make sure that you are eligible for those programs that you're interested in. I do want to say, though, that the pre-professional advising website, it lists common prerequisites. These prerequisites vary dependent on the schools that you're interested in, so just make sure that you are doing that research. Okay. All right, let's move on.
Can we talk a little bit, if we could go back, just to talk a little bit about internship research in senior projects. So those options are all available to you when you're in the kinesiology and health promotion department. And I really can't advocate more for you to take advantage of those. Those are just great opportunities for you to figure out what you want to do. I see a lot of students, they come in and they think physical therapy is the route I want to go. That's really what I want to do. I'm so passionate about it. They do an internship, they get some experience, and they go, yeah, no, that's actually not what I thought it was. It's something else. And so those internship opportunities, they're work experiences. We do have some on campus as well. You can do internships at the motor development clinic on campus. You can do it with athletics. I know, I believe Health and Wellness Center offers some as well. So there are possibilities on campus, but really they're designed to be a work experience. So you get out there and you see what's it like to be a physical therapist, what's it like to be an occupational therapist, to really get some experience. So, you know, I strongly encourage you to take advantage of that. The internship is an elective, the general option, so it's available to you if you want to do that. We this past year we really haven't had any. They had to be completely remote, and most students didn't want to do it if it was entirely remote. But for fall, you know, I think things are looking better, and you know, I think we will have some options for internships. The other thing is senior project and just research. Right now we have 12 faculty members in KHP, and a lot of the faculty are doing great research. They're doing interesting research, and you know, there will be opportunities to get involved. And I think the more you get to know the faculty, the more you will have those opportunities, that you'll be aware of those opportunities. So, you know, I would jump on those. So, you know, whether it's, you know, working in Dr. Kwan's biomechanics lab, you know, or with Dr. Koya and her smart technology and physical activity adherence. And, you know, there are going to be just lots and lots of opportunities to do that, especially as we come back to campus. So that's another way to, you know, to get exposure to different research, to different areas of study. But it also helps you stand out from everybody else. If you're applying to grad school and you're like, I did research in my undergrad program, and a lot of times with that, you're also able to publish. So, you know, being a published author as an undergraduate student is, it's pretty amazing. And it really, again, can open doors for you. Senior project is a little bit different than that. In that senior project, you would work specifically with one of our faculty members, a tenure track faculty member, and you would design your senior project with them. You may jump into some of their research as well. But again, fantastic experience. So, you know, whether it's internship, senior project, those are both elective options in the general option, or just getting involved in research. I can't really, again, recommend those enough. Right? You should take advantage of those, and they'll help you figure out, if you're sitting there going, I'm not sure yet what I want to do, those opportunities will help you do that. Okay. And that's it for that one.
We had a student ask, what are some internship possibilities or opportunities, resources outside of school?
Sure. Yeah, there are a lot within the local community. So I know Casa Colina does a lot of internships. Pomona Valley Medical Center does a lot. I know I've seen students in there when I've been in there for physical occupational therapy. They do a lot with our students. So a lot of those things. I know there are lots of opportunities in terms of more of the fitness side of things. I get stuff that kind of regularly comes across my desk and I send those out. We had was Fit Body Boot Camp had an internship. We just had one, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was another kind of fitness program. So keep your eyes open. I send that stuff out when I can, when I get it. Boys and Girls Club, YMCAs, the sort of community sport organizations are all possibilities. So that's kind of just within Pomona. If you expand out from there, again, so many internship opportunities. Maybe, I'm not sure, Ed, if you could speak more to this, but there's actually, it's part of the Center for Community Engagement. They have a section which lists places where we have what's the word I'm looking for? Partnership, but they're actually an approved site. So Cal Poly has vetted them and determined they're an approved site. And that means if you want to do an internship there, you don't have to get it approved. It's already pre-done. So you can look on that website and see where all those places are. And that'll also give you a really good idea of what the options are.
Yeah, and that building is in Building 1. They're located in Building 1, and I am forgetting the name too, but they do have options. And I was gonna add, there's an alumni, I don't know if you remember, it was Vanessa Hernandez. She was had a part-time job at a place that would work with children who had like autism, and they would do like tutoring and then activities. And so she worked that job for another year and then applied for occupational therapy at Loma Linda, and she got in. So you can find part-time jobs at places that work with like certain populations. And then I know like Ontario Montclair School District, they hire, the way they have it set up is they have PE teachers and then they have assistants that work under them. And usually a lot of those assistants are students going to school who want to become PE teachers. So they have a lot of that stuff. And if you go like onto edjoin.org, so edjoin.org, you can find all kinds of part-time work that you can actually get paid and get experience, and then while you're going to school. And usually those positions lead to full-time positions as well. So there's a lot of opportunities, like Dr. Chase said. I think it's just looking. And you can always come to the Career Center. You guys can all make appointments with me, and we could sit down and I can show you all kinds of different things. It really depends on what you're looking for, really. So.
All right. Thank you. So let's move on to the next slide. So what resources do you have to support? What kind of support is there available? So Dr. Hansen and Dr. Chase do have weekly hours where they offer advising. Those hours are found on the Kinesiology website. All KHP tenure track faculty do career advising, so they are the true experts in their field. So always the best contact with any career related type question outside of obviously Ed and the advising center. Ed also makes appointments, as he just mentioned. Appointments are made through Handshake. So please, if you have never used Handshake, overall a great resource to not only make appointments with Ed, but you can also view job opportunities on there as well. Speakers that may come to campus, career fairs. He is also available for drop-in hours 2 to 4 p.m. with the College of Science Advising Center. And I believe this is on Thursdays, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong.
Yes, Thursdays. Yeah.
Right.
Today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from 2 to 4, he will be on. And then the College of Science Advising Center. So you can schedule an appointment with a College of Science academic advisor through CPP Connect. So again, another resource that's available to you. We also do have drop-in hours, and we have wonderful Blackboard advising page with a lot of information specific to like your curriculum and your major. And then there's also the CPP Connect Planner, which the university just recently rolled out, which is a great tool that allows you to really build your schedule, interweave those prerequisites that we were talking about earlier. So overall, ton of great resources that are available to you to kind of help navigate you to the next step and getting you ready for that career. All right, so let's move on. Okay.
All right, well, we just pretty much said most of this, but these are all the links and things that you can have. If you want to do drop-in advising right now, it's virtual. That's the email that you'll send your resume to, or if you have a question, you just email, you know, I have a question, or here's my resume, can I get it looked over? I would say for you who haven't done an assessment, I would say take an assessment. That's going to really help you determine, you know, where you go as far as in kinesiology, but even more, maybe you know where you want to go, but how you're going to be effective. So like, you know, I know some students who are really good at relationships. They're really good about their making connections with their students or whoever it is. Versus some students, they're just really good at analyzing things and taking care of business, being very organized. And so, you know, using your best skill set, your best strength is really going to help you in your longevity and your career, you know, happiness, so to speak. So we do have assessments at the Career Center. And, you know, I would say you can always send an email to careercounseling@cpp.edu or career@cpp.edu, which is the Career Center's page or email. And you can just let them know that you're interested in taking a assessment, and someone will be there to help set you up. And you can let them know that you went to a workshop with Ed Venegas, and they will take care of you. And the very bottom is Handshake. And again, like Vanessa said, Handshake is the Career Center's software where we manage all of our activities and all the things that we do. And so if you haven't used it, I would say log on there, set up your account. You're going to be able to search for jobs and internships. You'll also be able to join in on some information sessions as well as our events. So yeah, so I'll stop there.
All right, so now we have our alumni, Delina Delphine. She's going to talk a little bit. So let me go ahead and mute myself, and then Delina, if you want to unmute yourself and then do an intro and talk a little bit about your experience.
Sure. So hi, everybody. My name is Delina Delphine. I'm kind of a recent grad of Cal Poly Pomona. I graduated in 2017 with my undergrad in kinesiology with the pedagogy option. So I am a PE teacher. I've been a PE teacher for, this will be the end of my third year, so fairly new, but some experience. After I got my undergrad at Cal Poly, I went right back for my credential program there, and it was really awesome. It was really great. And then after that, I was going to return back to Cal Poly for my master's in curriculum and education, I believe it was. But unfortunately, when you become a teacher, you have a jam-packed schedule, and I ended up getting a head coaching job as well as being a teacher. So my schedule just didn't work out with the class times of Cal Poly. So I ended up getting my master's degree in coaching and athletic administration from Concordia University in Irvine. A little bit to kind of piggyback off of what Dr. Chase was saying and some of the other speakers, it's good for you guys to go out and get experience in something that you think you're interested in, because at the end of the day, you might not be interested in that at all. So I actually started in the program here as a health science major. So I started for about half a year doing those classes. And then I got coaching experience. So I actually coached track and field and cross country at the high school level. And I realized that I absolutely loved it. Like it was a perfect fit. I enjoyed working with both athletes and students and, you know, helping them grow and achieve goals and just being outside and being there. And I realized that I'm probably not going to get that same feeling and experience with health science. So I ended up making the switch to pedagogy, and it was like the best choice I could have ever made. The program at Cal Poly Pomona really helps you get you ready for a job. And the reason why I say that is there's 4 of us currently working at the school I am. 2 of us are from Cal Poly Pomona and 2 of us are from Fullerton. And the reason is because they make you stand out when it comes time for a job, because you just get so much hands-on experience. You get real life situation experience so that when you go into an interview, you're ready for it. You're at least one step ahead of the other candidates that you have. Again, going off of the hands-on experience, you get to do a lot of the activity courses where you get thrown into real situations that you're going to have in real life with real students. So it really prepares you for going out there and not feeling like a fish out of water, if that makes sense. You're just ready to go. Some advice I would have as an undergrad is start being one step ahead of what you need to do for the next step. So for example, the next step as an undergrad is you should probably start looking for a credential program if you want to be a teacher, because in order to teach, you need to have a credential. So start looking to see what is the GPA you need, what classes do you need to take, do you need to take any tests in order to get your credential? I can't recommend the credential program at Cal Poly enough, just because the professors actually take the time to help you, to help guide you. Even when it feels like you're not doing very well, they'll step in and they'll do their best to make sure that you know you're important and they want you to be successful. So that's my advice for credential. When you are getting your credential, you're going to do what is the easiest way to explain is an internship midway through. It's called student teaching. When you are student teaching, you need to, again, be kind of one step ahead. Start getting ready to apply to jobs. So even though you're not finished yet, you don't technically have a credential yet, you can still get yourself ready. So, you know, talk up your professors like I have, get those letters of recommendations, kind of network yourself, throw yourself out there. If you can get experience maybe subbing in a district that you're interested in or you know might have a position later on, I definitely recommend that. Coaching experience will set you apart from other candidates, and coaching multiple sports will make you more of an asset to the school, if that makes sense. So like I said, I know I keep saying kind of the same thing, just being one step ahead of the game will help you out in the long run. And then just the big thing is networking yourself, making yourself known to the community, to your professors so that they can write you letters of rec, to your internship so they remember you, and you know, just seeing if it's something you actually really enjoy, because being a teacher, you have to wear a ton of different hats. Well, you know, you're their teacher, one day you're their counselor, one day you have to be the parental figure that they need because they don't get that at home. So you just have to be ready to be flexible, you know, because it could be raining outside. So what are you going to do on the whim? You just have to be willing to do that job and know that at the end of the day, you're doing a good job. So that's kind of what I have for, you know, my experience at Cal Poly. It was really great.
Thank you. And I know Dr. Hansen is on the call as well. So just wanted to give him an opportunity to introduce himself as well.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ken Hansen, and I am also a faculty member and one of the advisors in the Department of Kinesiology and Health Promotion. So I'm here to assist with any career advising, with any course setup, or anything you could possibly need with any advising issues that you may have. I have office hours between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. on both Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just make an appointment through the KHP advising email with Nancy, and she'll set that up, and hope to see you guys soon. I'm one of my favorite parts of my job right now is to work with the students during advising. I wasn't even sure how much I would enjoy that, but I really do. It's a lot of fun, and I'm getting a lot out of it myself. So I do know a few people who are on this call right now, and it'd be great to see you guys. Haven't seen some of you for a little while, so anything you need, just let me know.
Thank you. And I apologize for introducing you there a little bit late.
That's okay.
All right, so let's stop sharing and let's open it up for some questions. Since you can type them into the chat, you can unmute yourself or you can raise your hand virtually.
Dr. Chase, I got one for you. So I usually get asked this question. I have my answer, but just wondering, I think students should know, how important is GPA, you know, amongst the other variables that they're looking at when you apply to like a graduate program?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ed. You know, and I think there's no question that it's important. You know, I think a lot of programs have a minimum GPA requirement. You know, I think you have to look at that. But you know, I also say to students, you know, a lot of people are going to have good GPAs, and so it's kind of, it's necessary but not sufficient, right? So the other pieces are the things that are really going to get you in the door. And I talk about this at orientation, change of major meeting, all those sorts of things, about how important it is to do some things that differentiate you from everybody else. So you know, the volunteer work, the internship, the senior project, the research experience, the publications that may come with that, all of those things I think are the things that get you to the next level. So GPA, it's got to be there, but it's not sufficient, especially if you're looking at really competitive programs like PT, OT, chiropractic, med school. You know, that's a great question, Ed.
I have another question, and one that I feel has come up in sessions that I've had with students that are close to graduation, and I always refer them over to either Ed or you for this type of question. But the question is, you know, students are looking for opportunities right after getting their bachelor's degree, and they're finding like assistant positions, like PT assistant positions that are like paying like minimum wage, and they may be working at a part-time job that's, you know, earning about the same or more. So they're not really sure, should I look for those opportunities? Like what should I stay in my current job and get into a master's program? Like what should I do in that scenario?
Yeah, that's a good question, Vanessa. And somebody actually, Denise put a question in the chat that kind of ties into that. Once I graduate, I want to find employment as occupational therapy aide. Do I need to find a program that offers certifications or license? So, you know, that's, I think, you know, that's definitely a possibility. You know, I do think people are able to get some of those positions without the certification. That's at least that's my sense. You know, I think again, the certification, I know some community colleges offer those certifications in physical therapy aid or occupational therapy aid. Ed, you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but you know, I think, is that going to give you a leg up? Yes. You know, I also think getting in the door via volunteer work, being senior project, internship, those kinds of things are also going to help you get a PT aid or an OT aid position, you know, potentially without any additional education.
I always talk about the cost benefit analysis with my students. That's what we talk about when we talk about graduate school and bachelor's degrees, you know. And one of the things especially in kinesiology, if you go get a job with a bachelor's, then whether you paid for it or not, you spent your time. So you're gonna make so much money for what you paid for. It's almost not even worth it. It's like almost dead even. But if you spend a little more on graduate school, you're definitely gonna make a lot more. And so like, you know, once they realize, I get a lot of students like, oh yeah, and I'm like, yeah, you're gonna make a lot more money over the years if you spend an extra 2-3 years pursuing this degree versus, you know, here are some jobs that you can possibly get. You'll probably hate because you're gonna be somebody's workhorse. You're not gonna really make decisions. And so yeah, I always go through that. I think it's important to know, like, I mean, I know people say, oh, I do it because I love it, but I think salary really counts. And so, you know, if you're going to spend time with education, make sure that you are, you know, if it costs a little more school for you, but you're going to make a lot more, I would go for it. And in kinesiology, the cost benefit is moving on to like your master's degree or doctorate.
And Delina just said in the chat that she agrees as well.
Great minds think alike.
Any other questions? We're getting close to time here. All right, well, if there's no more questions, thank you again for joining us, and thank you, Ed, Kinesiology Department, and Delina for being on this call. Really happy that we did this, and hopefully we can continue doing this in the future. If you attended today's session, we will be sending out the PowerPoint presentation with all of those links that you can use, and then hopefully within the next week or so, we will have this video available on our YouTube channel as well. So thank you again, and I will stay on for the next few minutes in case you wanted to stay and have any additional questions, but otherwise, thank you so much for being here.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.